posebnega gosta, ki nam bo zaigral na kitaro. Prihaja iz Mađarske, odlično pozna Bruselj, nekje med Mađarsko in Brusljem je razpet, tako kot tudi seveda njegovo glasbeno znanje. Dajmo en aplavz Petru Rusu. Peter, izvolite. Aha.
Dobar dan, ups. Dobar dan, Ljubljana! Evo, tu smo Europe Together i sad ćemo pevati pesmu od Beatlesa Can't Buy Me Love, Can't Buy Me Love, oh, Can't Buy Me Love.
I'll buy you a diamond ring, my friend, if it makes you feel alright. I'll get you anything, my friend, if it makes you feel alright. 'Cause I don't care too much for money, money can't buy me love. I'll give you all I got to give if you say you love me too. I may not have a lot to give, but what I got I give to you. 'Cause I don't care too much for money, money can't buy no diamond ring, and I'll be satisfied. Tell me that you want those kind of things the money just can't buy. 'Cause I don't care too much for money, money can't buy me love, can't buy me love. Everybody tells me so, can't buy me love. No, 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 say no need no diamond ring and I'll be satisfied. Tell me that you want those kind of things the money just can't buy. 'Cause I don't care too much for money, money can't buy me love, can't buy me love. Love can't buy me love. Can't buy me love. A sada ću otpeti jednu mađarsku pesmu, ali ćete prepoznati melodiju na kraju. Proleće nam stiže i o tome priča ova pesma. I tako nam je lepo danas ovde u Ljubljani. Evo, ovako zvuči ova pesma. Tovo si silvizeta rost viragom, viragom. Minden modar társat választ viragom, viragom. Hát én immár kit válasszak, viragom, viragom. Te engemet, én tégedet, virágom, virágom. Hát én immár kit válasszak, virágom, virágom. Te engemet, én tégedet, virágom, virágom. Hát én immár kit válasszak, virágom, virágom. Te engemet, én tégedet, virágom, virágom, de hát én immár kit válasszak, virágom, virágom. Te engemet, én tégedet, virágom, virágom. Evo, nadamo se da proleće nam stiže svuda. Puno vam hvala. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she's standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh let it be. Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in the world of greed, there will be an answer, let it be. For though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. And when the night is cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me. Shine until tomorrow, let it be. When I wake up to the sound of music, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh let it be. Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh let it be. Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Hvala lepo svima. Thank you very much, everyone.
Ja, takole, najprej...
Okay, let's give a great applause to the performer for his interesting music performance, and good afternoon to everybody here. We are gathered here at the Congress Square because we want Europe. Today will be in the sign of the words Europe Together, or should we say hashtag Europe Together is the hashtag with which we are gathering our knowledge and collecting our thoughts and transforming it into an excellent and fun event. We have been together in this square since 3 p.m. We have some food and refreshments and a raffle, and of course we've had some very interesting debates here ever since 3 o'clock. Well, now it's time to kick off our official program. Let's give a great loud applause here. Let's hear it from everyone here at the Congress Square.
Naj vas torej vse povabim še...
Let me invite you to the interactive part of our event. We want you to interact and for all of you to give your opinions and to say what is on your mind. So throughout all the event, we want to keep you engaged and active. Those of you who may not understand the panels in English, you can pick up your headphones on the side, and we are providing interpreting into Slovenian and into English from Slovenian. The entire event is also web streamed, so you can follow us online, live, for all of you who are not with us here in Ljubljana today. So good afternoon again to everybody, to those who are following us through the web stream.
Evropska unija.
European Union urgently needs a new vision, a vision which would connect and strengthen the remaining 27 member states. This unity is necessary in order to face serious challenges of the European area, be it migration, humanitarian crisis at our borders, or resurrection of populist and fascist forces. Social Democrats need to take this opportunity to renew our energy. That is why we aim to provide positive vision for Europe. We want a united Europe, a Europe which would help its citizens in providing peace, security, and prosperity. This is the future of Europe. We need your help, so we prepared the project Together, New Direction for Europe, our joint journey through Europe for dialogue with citizens with whom we are co-creating our future. By establishing an online area and by traveling across European cities, we are starting the debates which influence our lives. And just like every journey, the journey of Together also brings us time for thought. Following each event, we will document the declaration will be adopted on the grounds of your active involvement through the website of Together and through the events such as we're having today. So follow us on our events and get to know our topics. Do join our debates, and together we can form the vision for Europe. So let's repeat it. Hashtag Europe Together for those who are which unites us into our common story. Let's start with an interesting film. Let's take a look at the screen and see why is this union so very important.
Mogoče angleščino slišiš?
Tega gremo vprašati.
Together, we are all working for a strong and progressive Europe.
Ja, samo skupaj.
Okay, it's only together that we can succeed. What kind of Europe do we want? It's certainly a different Europe, a progressive Europe, a Europe of solidarity and justice. We want a Europe, and that is why it is right that we create it together. So today will be in the sign of the keyword together, or should I say Europe together. For all of those who have just joined us right now at the back, please step forward and sit down. There are some rows of chairs here. We have ahead of us an interesting and maybe slightly long program ahead of us, so please move closer and sit down on the free chairs. And let us start with the first of the panels. We will be listening to the topic of the young and the European Union and its future. I would like to invite to the floor Anja Fortuna. No, sorry. First of all, you. Okay. We'll invite you, and you will invite all the panelists. Neva Grašić will be the moderator who will be inviting the panelists for the discussion about the youth and the European Union. Is it working? Yes, it's working. Hi. Hello, everyone. So we got the weather fixed. And now let's start talking about the bright future of the European Union. Dear Excellencies, dear high guests, do young people want European Union at all? And what kind of vision for Europe do they want? I will have with me 5 very active, very perspective individuals who are very active in their local environments, who are very active in politics, in NGOs, and as Tony has said and announced before me, I will just invite them to stage. First, President of the Youth Center of Slovenia, who used to work in the field of international cooperation, Anja Fortuna. Welcome. Next, a volunteer and an activist who is active at the Institute of Social Responsibility, a Mariborian by heart, and I have already crowned her the next mayor of Maribor. This is Naomi Hrast. And I rarely meet a Europhile as big as me, who is excited about the EU as much as I am. He's also president of the Youth Club of Drevinska Valley. Jakob Mlakar, welcome. The next panelist is head of the Department for Students' Issues at the Student Organization of Ljubljana. Blaž Plazar, welcome. Thanks for joining us. And let me just say that he is a student of international relations at the Faculty of Social Rights. He's also active at the Forum of Youth of the Social Democrats. Luka Pečar-Pahor, please join us.
Hvala moji panelisti.
Thanks very much, my panelists. Now they'll have a little break because we have some things to do before we kick off the panel discussion. Perhaps a short comment. We often hear that young people are the foundation of the society and that the future of society depends on us. However, we are rarely actually really involved in political structures, or we're rarely partners in co-deciding about certain policies. So generational differences are becoming a reality of the European Union. We can just learn from the example of Brexit, for example. And the youth of Britain has really supported being in the European Union, but they didn't cast their votes. But the older generation in Britain did, so they voted for the Brexit. However, there are some bright examples where younger organizations, individuals from youth organizations actively stepped on important functions and important political decision functions. So I'd like to invite to the stage one of such persons, President David Bernardić from the Social Democratic Party of Croatia.
Evo, hvala lijepa.
Thank you very much. Please give applause for our neighbor. Give a great applause. Hello, Ljubljana. Hello, Slovenia. Dear comrades, dear friends. Above all, I am very happy to be here with you, with such people, with my friends, with Dejan Židan, with Denis, Matjaž, Živa, with my friends from Croatia, Biljana, Ranka, Tomislav. I thank you all for being here today. But above all, I thank you for your this is a kind of work that is not appreciated enough, but there is no progress without it. Thank you all who have dedicated your lives and your enthusiasm to this. What I have learned in recent years when I've been actively involved in politics is that politics is not just meetings and speeches and gatherings and meetings. It's above all about people, about being together and being friends. And this is why we are here today, because we want to be together because of people. Because of the lives of people, because of their needs, their problems, or their dreams. We are here because of workers, because of pensioners. We are here because of farmers and all people who are weak, who are different, the others, those who don't have rights, who are neglected and who need our help. And if there is a child who cannot go to the university because their parents cannot pay for this university, then this is something that matters to me. Even if this is not my child, it is my problem. And if here there is a pensioner who cannot have a specialist exam for months, this is a reason for me to feel bad. If my neighbor cannot pay for electricity because he was not paid for his work, then I, as a social democrat, feel that this is my problem. And this is something that we do when we start with people, when we start with this feeling that we are here because of others. And if someone asks me what is the sense of being involved in politics, then I would say that this is to make sure that everyone has the same possibilities and opportunities, each person. There is no reason to be successful, but everyone has to have this opportunity. We have to be a society of equal opportunities. We have to be Europe of equal possibilities. Europe who does not exist just because of the market, but exists because of people. Europe that is open and not closed, a Europe that involves people, is including, not excluding, a Europe that is optimistic and not depressing, Europe that looks forward and not backwards, a Europe that we all can be proud of its anti-fascist foundations, because this is the essence of social democracy. This is equality, solidarity, freedom, and justice. And this is what we believe in, and this is for what we stand for and what we fight for. And this is why I'm especially happy today to be here in Ljubljana with my friends, to see this great energy, great enthusiasm, and great wish to make Europe as it should be. And I believe that as a strong social democratic family, we can do that. We are capable of doing this. At the end of every day, we are capable of achieving something. Let me conclude with a song that you will all know. Dejan knows which song I mean. What are the words of this song? Dear comrades, let us break the shackles of the tyrants. Let us raise our flag high above. Thank you very much.
Davor, hvala. Davor je v bistvu svoj...
Thank you, Davor. He described the vision of Europe, which we will talk about with our young social democrats. Thank you very much. You can try and practice this song so that you will be able to sing it. So about with the words of equality and solidarity, he described the essence of Europe. With my panelists, I will have another challenge to choose just one word to describe what the EU means to you. Just one word. What does it mean to you? Opportunities. My word would be opportunities. Responsibility. I would choose several words. Accepting the differences. Future. Universality. Thank you very much. Anya, what can you say about opportunities that you emphasized? Could you say that young people in Slovenia would have less opportunities without the EU? And which concrete opportunities did you mean? Hello? Neva said that I'm from the Youth Council of Slovenia. Maybe it would be a good chance to explain what this council is. I have to, sorry. It's an association of youth organizations, and we support the political activities of young people. Slovenian youth and also European youth would have less opportunities without the EU. I am from rural surroundings, from a small village, and without the EU I would have significantly less opportunities. One of these would be employment, which is essential for all young people. We all wish to have employment, decent employment, and this is something that the EU enables us to find. The percentage of unemployed was reduced in recent years due to the program of the EU, and it's supported the member states in this is also something, opportunities of Erasmus Plus program. There's also a lot of mobility and employment. For example, Erasmus entrepreneurs. So this program supports also entrepreneurship. Then there are also many opportunities for young farmers. So that would be all that I wanted to say. Thank you very much, Anya. So you mentioned this program, Guarantee for Young People. It was a success of the Social Democrats, that young people between 15 and 29 were granted a chance to get some training and some opportune apprenticeship. And this is something that a conservative European politics was not able to achieve. We still have a high percentage of unemployment, although it has been reduced recently. Many young people do not trust the EU that it will be able to solve their concrete problems. Many young people are marginalized. There are regions where those measures of the EU do not reach the young people. Sometimes they do have a feeling of a lack of justice and a lack of equality between men and women, between generations. There is a stronger xenophobia, Euroscepticism. So let me ask Luca, you mentioned the word Euroversality. What would you say about all these inequalities, xenophobia, and all these problems that appear among young people? Thank you for your word. So my word was Euroversality, and this is a term that there is very academic. So let me explain what it really means. Maybe it's better if I stand up. Euroversality in principle means that Europe is a place where values can reach all 27 member states. This means that we do not want to have 27 different lives, but one quality of life that will be available to all, no matter whether we are in Central Europe or somewhere on the edge, like Romania or the Balkan countries that will come to the EU later. It is important that the areas on the edge of Europe are not do not have fewer opportunities, that they have an infrastructure, that they have a chance to develop, and that there is a cross-border cooperation. It is very important to mention that. It is important that we listen to each other on both sides of the border. I believe that the EU is most active on the borders, on the border to Italy, Austria, Hungary, and Croatia. And this is where we have the key problems at the moment in our foreign policy. So this is what I meant. Thank you very much. So Luca presented his vision of the European Union and its future. Brasio chose the word future. When I look at the Eurobarometer among young people, there was the question, which ideas do they agree the most? And the top 3 ideas was that Europe has to enable a better access to young people for employment abroad, and to reduce unemployment, that Europe should strengthen critical thinking in fighting fake news by presenting objective information in the media. And third, that Europe should promote a change of the way we work by eco-friendly projects. Do you identify with any of those ideas? Do you agree with them? What's your vision of Europe? Thank you, Neva. I would agree with this first idea. This is where I identify with the most, that young people have the chance to study and work abroad. I hope I won't be talking won't reveal too much when I say that I chose this word on purpose, because I wanted to say how I found a very interesting study on Erasmus+. It was published by the European Commission, and they found out that since 1987, there was 1 million European children who were born since 1987. And it's important that we build Europe on this European identity, that children are born because of the Erasmus project and its connections. And to say that Europe is your home is very important, that Europe should strengthen this European consciousness, this European citizenship, the awareness of it. So Erasmus is one actions can be very effective. So that we can strengthen our European identity, and to have these programs also by European and political parties. This is why I chose this word. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Blaž. Okay, Naomi, now I will ask you. You mentioned the word responsibility. Could it be responsibility to our citizens or responsibility to member states? Could you give a more specific answer to what responsibility is to you? Responsibility, well, let's ask ourselves what responsibility is. Responsibility towards ourselves, towards other people, towards the society, also responsibility among states. And I think the EU and its institutions do encourage its citizens to social responsibility, and CSR Europe, or humanitarian support, or cohesion policy of the EU, or Pact for Youth, which is its direct project. They do encourage responsible thinking of its citizens. I think it's also important that it's in the Slovenian social system that we learn about our responsibility, about our civil responsibility, and our connection to the European Union. Also, what this responsibility brings to us, what sorts of responsibilities we have as Slovenians and as European citizens. Applause. Naomi's fan club.
In še zadnji naš govorec.
And now from our last panelist, Jakob. You chose the word accepting differences, accepting what is different. Perhaps Naomi mentioned this to a certain extent. In what areas can European Union be an example in this area to the rest of the world? And how can we improve this in our everyday lives? Hello, Neva, thanks very much. Yes, I chose accepting differences because I think this is a fundamental word collocation which does describe fundamental values of European Union. Cultures and societies should be connected with one another, and this reminds us of the EU and the diversity of our lives. Are enshrined by the European Court of Human Rights to prevent discrimination, such as gender discrimination, discrimination over elderly people, respect of LGBT society, community. Naomi and Blaž did speak about rights of young people and of children. Everyone should have the right to education. Anya also mentioned youth guarantee, which is being implemented in Slovenia. And these values that are supported by the EU are so crucial. In the manifesto also includes child guarantee, because children too should have rights to education, to decent life, and so on. And these are truly values and that European citizens do support. And I see this as the European Union. It is a community of citizens that stands on its ground, that does not give in to populist tendencies, and that accepts differences and other principles of the European Union. Thank you very much. I think he deserves an applause. So thank you for the first round of your comments. And I think that your comments did, in a way, cover most of the priorities that the young people throughout the European Union have mentioned. They talked about acquiring skills and education, protection of environment, fight against global change, and responsibility to future generations. These are top priorities of the EU as the young people of the EU see them, and we hope that these will get implemented into policies. So we have addressed these issues this afternoon already. On May 26th this year, we will have an opportunity for us young to decide on what kind of European Union we want to live in. So as our panelists have said, young people do want to have a say about the future of the European Union, and I personally do wish that young people would recognize the European Union as an area of flow of people and ideas, an area of equal opportunity and opportunity to develop. We should support with all assets and European Commission's programs access to education, to acquiring skills. And as I see, for young people, EU is a positive integration, which does provide quality of living, healthy environment, and dignified jobs. Okay, so we covered these points. Thanks very much. Perhaps if we move a little bit forward now, and if we talk about young people, old people, we're all people, but also politics are young and old. So there's the politics that are afraid of change, that deny the rights to those who are different, that wishes to preserve the status quo. The policies of socialist democrats are the policies which at its core are young, which aims for change, for something better. It is more optimistic and free. We before discussed that young people do not have problems with the sore back or with fascism in the EU. And young people, we do not wish to rewrite the history of the European Union, but we do want to write the future of the European Union and talk about the future of the European Union. We should place on the first place the future which should be better, more open, imperfect, perhaps, but it can be better and different. Young people, particularly young socialist democrats, are willing and decided to make this struggle come true. We will go to the squares, we will debate on social media, and I wish that we do generate energy for the future and to set new foundations for perhaps a different development and different vision of the European Union. As we've seen, young people do have a very strong European identity. We want a just, inclusive Europe. And social democrats, with our president here in the first row, we will not let them down. And socialist democrats will struggle for freer Europe, for a Europe that will be the best opportunity or a promise of the better future for young people. Thank you very much to all the panelists. Oh, I would like to invite another young and curly person to the stage. Tony, will you take over from here?
Hvala lepa. Toni, izvoli.
Thanks very much. Tony, please.
Ja, takole, mislim, da si zaslužijo.
So I think that they all deserve a very, very great applause, a very loud applause. So this is the future of Europe. These are the opinions that will be weaving Europe in the decades to come. I thank you all. And now we have a very special task. Will you wait here for this? Jakob is one of the panelists and a great musician. When he gets a guitar in his hands, he plays it. So let's bring the guitar. We can invite someone from the background to bring it to the stage. We will have a microphone for you. And I think you can step into the front row. That would be better.
Ja, takole, mečke bomo počakali. Jakob, na kakšen način lahko rečeš pravzaprav, kaj ti pomeni kitara? Velikrat takole, ko pride...
So, can you tell me what does the guitar mean to you? It is an instrument. I can say that with certainty. It's a relaxation for me. Music is a way of expression. And it has a message also. It's not, you can express a message in a much nicer way than without a guitar. If everyone would be singing instead of talking, we would have a greater participation. I think that's a good invitation. So we demand from our MEPs that they should play a known song to any instrument. I will play you the song I've been waiting for you like an idiot. I sang this with the band Mitva. I sang this for all women and who are waiting for children. And now I sing this for all European women.
Čakal sem te celo jutro, celo noč, večer in dan pred tem. Od nikoder ni bilo korakov, mobitel zaspal je gluh in nem. Je bilo res se tak narobe. Lahko mi pomagate? Zbrani vrsti pod zastavo smo verjeli v neke boljše dni. Gazili bi jedli travo, brez besed prelili svojo kri. Za Boga, za domovino, da zamenjamo oblast. Za šteko čikov, liter vina, da na malo pijemo dolg čas. Čakal sem te ko kreten, čakal neke boljše čase, preveč butast, preveč len, da bi mogel misliti nase. Čakal sem te ko kreten, čakal neke boljše čase, preveč butast, preveč len, da bi mogel misliti nase. Tak je čisto na začetku, ko je svet še zadnjič bil iskren.
zrasel, se naučil, da bi razumel, da čim prej bi znal početi vse tisto, kar do drug je mislil, da bi htel. Čakal sem te ko kreten, čakal neke boljše čase, preveč butast, preveč len, da bi mogel misliti nase. Čakal sem te ko kreten, čakal neke boljše čase, preveč butast, preveč len, da bi mogel misliti nase. Vse življenje ko kreten, čakal neke boljše čase, s tem, da je ves klic v tem, kar daš podse, kar daš nase. Na Evropo, ko kreten. Hvala.
Thank you very much. Jakob, thank you. Let's give him another round of applause. And now let me introduce the future of the European Commission, the next president of the European Commission, Franz Timmermans.
Meni pa ostaje samo še čast, da se...
So now I have this honor to thank my partners in this discussion. The vision of Europe will be cool, I think. So, Tony, I'll give the word to you. Thank you. I thank all the panelists, Ana Fortuna, Blaž Plazar, Nomi Hrastar, Jakob Mlakar, and Neva Grašić, who was the moderator. And she showed, they have all shown us what Europe will look like in the future, on which opinions it will be founded. And if the world is built on young people, then we can see that this world will be standing for years to come. Thank you all. And now is the time to continue with our official program. As it is the custom, the president of the Social Democrats, Dejan Židan, will have a speech now. We invite him to come to the stage. A round of applause for his speech.
Odlično, izvolite.
Here you go. Hello? 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 Okay. You can hear me. Comrades, residents of Slovenia and of the European Union, dear friend Franz, welcome to the Congress Square in Ljubljana. The Congress Square is the location where Slovenian history was written in the past. And tonight, dear comrades, Socialist Democrats, and future President of the European Commission, Franz Timmermans, we are writing new history of the European Union here.
Mi, socialni demokrati,
Us Social Democrats, we want a different European Union. We want a European Union that focuses on a person, a European Union in which every person has equal opportunities, equal rights, which do not depend on his or her social status or economic situation. But, dear comrades, European Union needs to be progressive. It needs to be bold. It needs to be progressive and bold in order or because this will enable it solidarity and just. It's only solidarity and justice that protect the everyday person and smaller nations and smaller countries. Dear comrades, for 15 years, European Union has been led by the European People's Party, and it has not led it to prosperity. When we were faced with economic and financial challenges, European People's Party was not saving people. They were saving financial elites, financial imperiums, and capital. And after the economic and financial crisis, people were worse off. But financial elites became stronger. We are now in a period where we are under the impression that financial elites are even stronger than individual European member states. And this is not the Europe we want. But this is Europe that is being created by European People's Party. With the economic and financial crisis not even over, we were faced with migrant crisis. And European People's Party did not wish for a unified solution. It led individual member states to respond each in its own way. And that is why, and because of that, we have more hatred today, more fascism, more chauvinism, and other excluding behaviors. And it is because of that, dear friends, that in Europe we are building walls. The walls are being built inside Europe and also walls between people. Dear comrades, our Europe is different. Our Europe is different from those who come to anniversary events, to commemorate historic events, and then shout around, Viva Italian Istria and Viva Italian Dalmatia. This is not the Europe we believe in. Dear comrades, if you can take a look at what is going on, for example, in France, where unknown perpetrators vandalized Jewish graveyards. We also have member states now in Europe where the right to think with one's own head is being prosecuted. Our Europe, the Europe of socialist democrats, is different. Our Europe is progressive. It is respectable. We respect one another. And we are aware that Europe was born on the foundations of anti-fascist and anti-Nazi struggle and victory. And that is why our Europe is returning to its roots, the roots that are about justice, about solidarity, and the roots that are also about respect. Now for Europe of prosperity, can you imagine a Europe in which every citizen, we are now 500 million of Europeans, and we would all have equal opportunities, equal rights. Dear friends, imagine a Europe in which all 500 million citizens feel as they are part of wider, single homeland. This is the Europe we stand for. But we are aware that Europe of prosperity and progress is not possible without being a Europe of justice and based on the rule of law. Why rule of law? Because it is only the rule of law that protects everyday people. And the rule of law prevents those that are stronger or bigger As a nation, Slovenians, we are full of heart, but we're not the biggest. So every nation should feel safe, and we demand European Commission presidents do not hide opinions in their drawers, and that is why we support Franz Timmermans, because he believes in Europe of the rule of law. Next May 26th, dear friends, we are having an important election, perhaps even the most important election to date, because the thought that we need just, bold, solidary Europe is not present everywhere. That is why we need to go to the polls. Imagine the responsibility of the poll goers who were going to Brexit referendum, and the young people stayed at home. And by staying at home, they wasted an important, better future, and they let others decide. So we must do everything, ladies and gentlemen, to increase the turnout at the polls this time, because only socialist, democratic Europe can protect people, countries and smaller nations. And just to wrap up, long live Republic of Slovenia and long live Socialist Democrat Europe. Thank you.
Hvala.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dejan Židan, President of the Social Democrats of Slovenia, for a very strong speech. At the very special event, at the event when we are celebrating Europeanness, when we are saying that we want more Europe, since we're being interactive today, it is good to also hear your voice. Can you help me and say Europe 1, 2, 3? We want Europe. We want. Excellent. Very well done. And very interactive, too. We are also presenting the platform Together, Europe Together. This will be the hashtag that will connect us and connect our initiatives under one roof. A few more words about what kind of Europe we want and how to create it is what we will hear in our next main panel for tonight. It is the panel entitled The Europe We Need. For those of you who would require translation into Slovene from English, please take the headphones and you can hear the translation of the panel, which will take place in English. And the moderator of this final main panel is a great connoisseur of the issues of European Union, long-term European parliamentarian and Vice President of Alliance of Socialists and Democrats, Tanja Fajon.
Tanja bo torej
Panelists at this main debate tonight. I'm sure that you will do a marvelous job like this. Should I invite them on the stage? Okay. Okay, so our 5 guests, panelists for the debate. First, Member of European Parliament, Biljana Borzan.
prav tako poslanka v Evropskem parlamentu, predstavnica SND.
Also a representative of S&D Group, Isabela de Monte. Secretary General of European Alliance of NGOs, Connie Reuter.
Vodja odbora za zunanje zadeve.
President of the Committee for International Affairs in Austrian Parliament, Andreas Schieder. And we've already welcomed him tonight, first Vice President of European Commissioner and the candidate of the Alliance of S&D for the President of the European Parliament, Franz Timmermans.
Franz se nam bo pridružil
Okay, so France will join us a little later on. And now I would like to pass the microphone to Tanya for the debate entitled The Europe We Need. We want? Before? Okay, Tanya, the floor is yours.
Ljubljana.
Thank you very much, and good evening, Ljubljana, good evening, Slovenia, good evening, European Union, good evening to everyone who is following us online. I think that France doesn't need to come on stage.
So you have...
Join us later.
Jaz bom govorila slovensko.
I will be speaking Slovenian.
In najprej bi želela vse lepo pozdraviti na
Thanks, and I would like to welcome everyone who has joined us tonight, and I hope that we will have an interesting discussion about what kind of Europe we want and why is European Union somehow in a dead-end alley, and where are the values such as socialist Europe, better Europe, everything that the ENG, president of Slovenian Socialist Democrats and of our National Assembly, has said. I have with me 4 excellent colleagues. It's not working, Connie? No? Okay.
Se slišimo?
Do we hear? Can you hear me now? The translation is on? Okay. So, 2 ladies here at this panel are my colleagues at the European Parliament, and let me start with Biljana Borza from Croatia. But perhaps just as an introduction to tell you something about my experience. After spending 10 years in the European Parliament and after 18 years of life and work in Brussels, I can truly say that these next May European elections will be one of the most crucial, if not historic, European elections, because we will be deciding about what kind of European Union, or do we even continue to have the European Union in the future. We are at a very important crossroads here, and I think it's important that people, and particularly young people who really are benefiting a lot from the EU, will go to the polls on the 26th of May and decide on what kind of Europe they want to live in. And if we take a look across the border to our neighbors, to Italy, Austria, and Hungary, they have a lot of very powerful nationalism and chauvinisms, and democracy is at stake in their countries. And what we want today is a different Europe that is anti-fascist Europe, against intolerance, against xenophobia. So the first question to you, Biljana. You are of a younger generation. You have just spent your first term at the European Parliament. Oh, second. Okay, just like for me. We've spent it together. When did you feel this Europeanness inside of you? And can you still feel it today?
Tanya, let me, before I answer this question, to welcome you in Croatian, because I know that you understand me.
Of the translation, then my colleagues will understand me. Well, I have to tell you that when I was in a primary school, one of my class colleagues gave me a nickname, Child of the World. So people in my children in my class, they saw something in me that I'm the one who thinks that the world is my home. And I was very anxious to see my country as a member of European Union. Unfortunately, this journey of Croatia to the European Union lasted for more than 10 years. So we had to be very patient, but we finally joined the European Union, and I think it's one of the best things that could happen to us. Why? Because this is not only the most prosperous region in the world when we talk about economy, but when we talk about human rights, when we talk about equality, when we talk about all the that European Union gives us. So, same values, and I think that social democrats are the ones who are the most important politicians who will talk about these values and fight against populism, nationalism, and all the other negative movements today in the European Union.
Hvala, Biljana. Izabela De Monte prihaja iz Trsta, je moja italijanska kolegica.
Isabella De Monte is from Trieste. She is my colleague from Italy, and I cannot avoid the question for Isabella, who has spent this past term in the European Parliament and really did follow the debate that are arising lately, that are very critical about what is going on with Italy right now and what is going with nationalist politics in Italy. In this past time, Slovenia and Croatia have been very critical towards the statements, really scandalous statements against Tajani. I think that you were also, I know you were also very critical of this, but as a social democrats, as younger generation perhaps, how are you observing what is going on with Italy today and how is this influencing Europe?
So thank you very much, Tanya. Thank you for your invitation. And you have to know that Tanya is really, really active. Is a vice president of our group and really active in the committee. So it's a pleasure to be here today and this evening to participate in this meeting. The situation in Italy is very difficult, you know, because now we have the central-right government. It's a mix between populist, sovereignist, nationalism, and they are obtaining a lot of consent because they are putting on the table of a lot of populist topics. First of all, the migrants. They won the election about this topic. And they are continuing. They are not making a progressive and development type of activity as government. They are only continuing to make populism. This is the problem. But now, after 1 year, maybe people are discovering there is now more than this. There were 2 elections, regional elections, one in Abruzzo, one in Sardinia, and the situation now is different. But we have to be aware that maybe the European elections will be different again. So I'm not so optimist on the result of the next European elections. This is why I think we have to cooperate together as maximum level, I think, to push our electors on the right direction. Because you know that, and we all know, that the real direction they want to obtain in the next European Parliament is to create a real conservative and right government. So they want maybe to split the EPP and create this new government in the European Parliament too. So we have to explain that the national topics are not the same in the European level. So I will run again for the next European elections, and it will not be easy because we have these constituencies composed by 4 regions, and where we have a lot of concerns of the Lega Nord and Salvini. So we have to fight a lot and together and demonstrate that the Europe is the Europe without borders. Thank you.
Hvala, Izabela. Franz je danes.
Isabella, thank you very much. At one of the meetings today, Franz said that you're having spring here in Ljubljana, and not only spring because the weather is nice and because it's so hot and sunny, but also because a lot of people, particularly young people today, are beginning to reawaken in Europe in the sense that they want change, they want better, a different Europe, and that after Brexit and after Trump and after all the issues that have arising, that they do care. Andreas Schieder, you are from Austria. You are a member of the Austrian Parliament, also the president of the Committee for Foreign Politics. You are an Austrian European. When did you feel like you are a European, and now you're entering the election campaign for the European Parliament for the first time? What are going to be your guidelines?
And I'm also happy, maybe I can say this before, that also a big group of Austrians came from Carinthia. So there's eine Gruppe aus Kärnten auch. Schönen guten Abend. And this is showing because it's also the neighboring region of
To je tudi sosednja regija.
Your questions. I felt the first time as a European in '89 when the Iron Curtain was falling down. And I had the feeling as a youngster there that now Europe is intensively growing together. And I thought that everything and the future must be bright also in terms of social and cohesion policy. And what I'm afraid now is that new borders are built up. What we see now is that new walls are built up, that we have the walls in our societies between rich and poor. We have the walls between those which have too much and those which getting less and less. And we see also that the nationalists are building up also new real borders, border controls, and working against the united Europe. And this is creating a lot of fear, because I think now, 30 years after, we should not waste this chance of history. We should use the European election and the next 5 years to build up a better Europe and not allow the nationalists in all the governments and in the European Parliament to destroy what was so hard to build up. And this is what I'm still dreaming. And if we manage this, then we are real Europeans, because then we manage to build our better future.
Andreas,
you have mentioned that if we remember, one of the most beautiful historical projects was Europe, because it was a project of uniting a community of different nations after the war and the poverty. And this is something we have forgotten. And the European Union also won a peace prize, Nobel Peace Prize. Maybe we've forgotten that too. In Slovenia, almost every village, every town does have at least one school or road or health center that was founded at least partly by European funds. And these new standards were improved by the European Union support. We have in the past years as a union gone through a lot of crises. We are faced with extreme challenges. Europe is still the most attractive and the richest continent, but we have too many very rich people. We have multinationals, we have tax evasion. The money is flowing out of our hands. The future of employment is under threat, and we need dignity. We need equal pay for everyone. Conny Reiter from Germany, and she is representative of Solidar, of trade unions. Conny, perhaps your view of what social democrats, what can we do in a stronger, more connected European Union to guarantee the basic values of life and dignity for our citizens?
Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. Well, I'm German, but I work in Brussels. I'm European. And you ask Andy, when did he feel for the first time as a European? For me, it was in 1959. When with my parents we traveled to Italy for holidays. They saved money all over the year to have holidays over there. You went to a campground, you do not speak any language, but you speak with the people and you feel something, and this is where you feel European. There are many other opportunities where you feel really European, but you're absolutely right. This Europe has come under threat. And the point is, it is not longer the question of a dream or what, it's more than an internal market, because the reality that you describe, we experience it every day, not me in Brussels because I'm working towards and with the European institutions. But Solidar is a network of 29 active in 26 countries and has 62 organizations that work on the ground. And sometimes people ask, what you're doing? Well, we have organizations who start cleaning the border between Syria and Jordan so that refugees can come over. We have organizations all over what they called before the Balkan route who help migrants who were coming across. We have in the Netherlands Humanitas, we have in Germany Arbeiterwohlfahrt, we have so many organizations, Volkshilfe in Austria, that are doing social work on the ground and helping people who are in difficulties. So we know what is how they see Europe. And what they are asking us always is not what the people tell me also and others is, We find it still important. It is interesting, but really, is it something delivering for people living in poverty, for people feeling under threat because they have choices, they are part of a minority, they're LGTB, and they have a lot of problems and difficulties? No, and this is, I think, this is where we can show that not only the parliament, but also the institutions do a lot of things, but we need to do more. Because when I was speaking from the very beginning, what was the dream and what was the motivation of my parents to bring us to Europe, it was clear after the war, never again such. And therefore the idea of a European peace project and a Europe that is protecting, that is offering social protection, protection to its citizens, protection to minorities, this is at stake, and this is why there is a necessity to have a progressive vote in the next European elections. We are not the party political organizations, but we are part of the social democratic family, and the choice is on the table. First of all, we have to get out the ground of the sofa and to mobilize and to show, look, there is an alternative, there is a political family that is proposing something, and that has a candidate like Franz Timmermans who sticks to the promises and who is not promising something he would not stick to later. This is important. It's a matter of credibility and to give a perspective for employment and not to say just jobs. No, it's quality employment. People want decent work wherever they are, in the south of Italy or in the north of Sweden. They want to have social protection. They want to get out of the trap of precarious work, of zero-hour contracts and others. And I think the list is long, and Social Democrats have a program which needs support by the unions and by civil society, and this is why we engage, and this is why we want really to keep not only the project and the idea of Europe, but to say, here's the perspective, and this it is worth for fight for. When I could vote for the first time in 1972, I voted SPD and Willy Brandt. Yeah, and Willy Brandt said, nichts ist für immer, nichts ist für Dauer, es sei denn, man kämpft für es. Nothing is guaranteed, nothing is forever, unless you fight for it. And I think this is the leitmotif for Europe that could not better sum it up. Thank you.
I would just like to have a comment on you, Tanya, when you said that in almost every town or village in Slovenia there is some European project that is going on. I come from a very poor country, and most major projects and thousands or hundreds and thousands of smaller projects are financed from European funds, not our national budget or local budget. But unfortunately, sometimes local authorities and governments want to have a credit for themselves. So it's very important that we tell to people that European Union is the one who helped that we have something new or better in our town or in our village, but unfortunately sometimes it doesn't happen. For example, my colleague, our colleague from Great Britain, told me once that she was in the last 4 or 5 years only once in British newspapers as a member of European Parliament. Maybe that's the answer why we have Brexit right now. So I think that I know that Tanya is very prominent in Slovenia, and there are lots of MEPs who are prominent in their countries, and it's very important to talk about not only about funds but about European values, and to show people why it is important to be the member of this union. Because I think that it's tragic that we have a question, do we need Europe or not? The answer is obvious, we need Europe, but there are some people who try to accuse Brussels of everything that's wrong in their country, and that's something that can have very negative consequences, as we see now in Great Britain.
Hvala Biljana.
Biljana, thank you very much. Yes, it's true. I often hear when something bad happens, we are very quick, or national politics are really quick to blame Brussels, but when something good happens, they like to take credit for what's good and not give credit to the EU. We must remind ourselves of what EU is and what it can bring us. And Slovenia and Croatia are such examples because we have a lot of benefits from the EU which we might have forgotten about. Isabella, I would like to thank you because Italy has passed some crises because of what you mentioned, like migrations that are connected to dangerous manipulations, lies and populism. As politicians, as people, how can we stand against and say no? Politicians, media, we should say we do not want manipulations. We want openness, progress, solidarity, and for everyone to have dignity and safety. How can you address these challenges in Italy?
Before, I forgotten to say something about what Tajani and Salvini said in Basovizza. Also in Italy, people are against this because this is a message, a bad message about nationalism and divide people like in the past, and we don't want this. So this is why I think that EPP too is trying to make more nationalist and on the right part, not in the center like now, but in the next term it will be different from now. What we can do in Italy is not easy because they are able to maintain the attention on these topics. On the TV, they occupied the TV, both either Five Star Movement and Lega Nord. So there is also a risk about the media, the freedom of the media, because they want to reduce. We have the example in Italy of Primorsky, They want to take away the financial system guaranteed to these newspapers. So there is a risk in the media too, on TV and newspapers. So first of all, we have to communicate that Europe is really important. I agree with you, not only for funds, but for connections, because there are a lot of projects that are not simply funds, but real projects for the future of Europe and future of our geopolitical situation in the world, because before was mentioned that we are only 500 million people compared to China, compared to other parts of the world. We are small. So I think we have to demonstrate that Europe is part of the world. We have to be strong. I am part of the Transport Committee and Tourism, and we have done a lot on this. For example, Lega Nord and Five Star Movement, now they are blocking the high-speed connection between Italy and France. But this is not a moment, I can say. This is a strategy. So they want to block the borders. They want to give messages that if we come back to the past is better, maybe exit from Europe, and they are not saying the truth, because I remember 5 years ago the campaign was about exit for Europe, and this was the first point in both of the programs. So we have to remember, and remember to the people that this is real action they want to make in the next term, in the plan of the new European Parliament and the European Commission. So maybe we have also to say that it's really important to have our President of the European Commission, because now there is an agreement, there is an alliance, but in the future there will not be in this way. So it's really important to push to have our President of the European Commission. So this is why we can allow to have in the future a more progressive Europe. Thank you.
Hvala Izabela. Seveda bomo imeli
Isabella, thank you very much. Of course, we will have soon with us on stage the future president of the Commission, France. But thanks for mentioning Basovizia again, because I would like to mention that Socialist Democrats have triggered an international petition after this event in Basovizia. We gathered over 27,000 signatures, and we sent a clear message that we do not want nationalistic politicians of types Orban, of types Salvini and Tajani, but we need statesmen. And this was our message to Franz Timmermans: when you become president of the Commission, only statesmen, no nationalist politicians. Our petition was focused on no to fascism, no to intolerance, and because this is everything we will reject. Andreas, shortly about you. Austria and Slovenia have this small issue, one issue. On the border between Slovenia and Austria for some 3 years now, we have internal checks on borders, on internal borders. Today there are no more any objective arguments to support this. We forgot that Schengen borders are very important. We do not need traveling documents. We are not paying customs. If Schengen falls, if this free area of movement falls, this of course requires safe external borders, then I think that entire project can fail. Will you, Austrians and Social Democrats, work on basically making external borders stronger and drop the controls of internal borders?
Of course we do. I think it's extremely clear, because this internal rebordering of Europe is just a nationalist project in order to split up the European Union and not let people allowed to connect each other. And I like so much bicycling. And when you go bicycling, especially in the hilly area, which is in the neighborhood of Slovenia, Austria, Italy, Croatia also, then you discover also sometimes you're traveling over several borders, and it's much nicer if there is no border control. And the border control which was established was only a fake. Nobody was protected. It was just a mess for tourists and for the economy. So therefore, we urgently asked our Minister for Interior to put down these borders. But anyway, we asked our Minister for Interior Affairs anyway to step down from his position, because he's the worst Minister for Interior Affairs which I have ever met, and therefore this is reason enough to kick him out and therefore get less borders.
Hvala lepa. Mislim, da bo...
Thank you very much. I think that we have brought our panel to conclusion. Connie, maybe last question for you. People today feel that what they lack or miss the most is dignified work and dignified jobs. There's still too much poverty. You have mentioned precarious work, uncertainty of jobs for young people, inequality of pay between men and women. There's still a lot of great differences here. We've talked with trade unions today, with the NGOs, with civil society. We have a social agreement for social green Europe, for green towns and cities. This is also a future we're focusing on as Socialist Democrat parties. How can we guarantee or bring about that Europeans truly will have equal, dignified conditions of work? We have now stopped this strict austerity, but still there's too much poverty.
Yeah, what can we do? Well, we have to fight, and we need political majorities. When I discuss with my friends from NGOs and also with trade unions, we are sometimes very critical, because we are never in government, we are non-governmental, we are never in the parliament because we are not parliamentarians. But I say, look, what has happened? The EPP and the Conservatives think that this Europe belongs to them. Yeah? And Social Democrats are there to help them to have their idea of Europe. And we have to say in Italian, niente, basta, it's sufficient, it's over. This party is over, because people want decent work, they want quality work, they want that we have ILO standards, we have an idea what this is, but we do not get it for free. However, and this is interesting, sometimes people forget also that in the entrepreneurship you have a lot of entrepreneurs who understand that you need qualified workforce, qualified workers, interested workers, because they are helping also to raise the productivity of corporations, and they are also helping with innovation. So if you consider that you need a working slave, well then you go to those who on their bicycle deliver pizza and so on. But this is not the work. And Social Democrats, what we have now, and I think this is what we have to also to explain, is it's matter of decent work, it's matter of quality employment, and we have an idea of what can be social protection in the future world of work. Because there is no reason that the platform work should not offer also social protection schemes. And sometimes when we discuss with young people say, yeah, you at your age, you will have a pension, that's fine, but we at our age. And then I said, sorry. Well, please wake up, stand up and think how this pension system can also be developed, that you also have a right to a decent pension and to a decent existence. But this will not fall from heaven, this will not be just there. It needs a strong alliance, it needs a strong partnership with progressive parliamentarians, with progressive political parties, with the social democracy in the lead and not just accompanying. And also this needs also from the union side a strong understanding that the world of work is not enough. You also need support from civil society organizations, because we are on the ground. Outside of the world of work, we see what are the consequences. And therefore, I think the idea, and this will be my last word, with what is called the 2030 Agenda, Sustainable Development Goals, an idea of a sustainable Europe that keeps the people together, that keeps the economy together, and that keeps this continent peaceful together. I think this is the positive message that we can use and that we have to spread around during this election campaign. In a way you can say it's now or never.
Hvala lepa vsem mojim gostom.
Thank you very much to my panelists. It is a real challenge to seriously discuss what kind of Europe we want to live in. We want Europe. We Social Democrats want progressive and just Europe for people. I would like to thank you all in France. What can I say? We've warmed the stage for you, for your concluding speech, for your winning speech. Allow me to invite you to the stage. Long live Social Democratic Europe and Slovenia.
Should I use another one? Can I use this one? Is this working? Yeah, good evening. Are you with me? Anybody alive out there? Anybody in a fighting spirit out there? Anybody ready for elections out there? We have to fight. I hear people saying it's difficult. Hey, when has it ever been easy? It's never been easy. And by the way, it wouldn't be fun if it were easy. It has to be difficult because that brings the best out in us. Do we believe in Europe? I believe in Europe. Do we believe in a future that is better than today? I believe in it. Do we want to fight to make this Europe better for our children than it is today? Yes, we do. Do you? How will we do this? We've heard many interesting contributions just now. Let me pick up a few things. I can feel that something's changing all across Europe in our societies. I can feel that people are sick and tired of austerity politics. I can feel that people are coming out, getting together, going into the streets and saying they want things to change. I can feel this is happening right now. I am proud when I see my own kids and other school children in Belgium going out into the streets and saying, guys, you need to do something about climate change. I can feel the energy coming out of the workforce all across Europe who are saying, hey, we want fair salaries. So, my friends, it's time. It's time that we created a minimum wage in every single member state of the European Union. It's time. It's time that we came up with a plan, European Commission. It is time that we give decent salaries and decent protection to all those young people who now have 0-hour contracts, who ride a bike with a rucksack on their back with Deliveroo written on it, and they're being told they're entrepreneurs. They are not. They deserve a decent salary. It is time that we put an end to all this talk about rewriting history. Let all these right-wingers who believe they need to instrumentalize history for their own political gains, let them rewrite history. We, my friends, are going to write the future. And our future will be progressive. Our future will be based on solidarity. Our future will be based on a Europe where we take people's individual rights seriously. Our future will be based on the fight against discrimination, the fight against homophobia, the fight against xenophobia. We will not want to live in a Europe where we don't trust the persons next door. We want to live in a Europe where we see somebody who's different as an opportunity to work together to create a better society. I have been coming to this country since the late 1970s. I have seen the change. I have seen this great nation develop into something which is a pearl in the crown of Europe. This is the crossroads where three great European cultures have been meeting for centuries and centuries. This is where the Germanic, the Slavonic, and the Latin world meet and interact without confrontation, on the basis of friendship. Yes, we know that some parts of our history were bloody. That's exactly the reason why we don't want ever to go back there, and we want to work on a Europe which is based on borderless Europe, on a Europe where we found a society on solidarity, on working together with others. So now I have a question for you. I have a question to all of you. Are you with me? Are you with me? Are you with me? Then let's go out there and for 2 months campaign, convince everyone that it is in their interest to go and vote in the European elections, to make sure that there is a progressive majority in the European Parliament, so that we create a Europe that is fairer, that is stronger, that is better, that stands up for our values, that makes our children dream again, that takes poverty and throws it out, that makes sure that all of us can profit from a Europe that is stronger, fairer and free. Thank you very much. Have a great evening. Thank you.
Ja, takole.
Wow, thanks very much for this very powerful and emotional speech of European Socialists candidate for the President of the European Commission. And Franz Timmermans, thank you very much. Let's give another round of applause. And thank you for all these heartfelt words which have certainly motivated a lot of voters in Slovenia too. Now let's switch slowly switch to the last and very entertaining and loud part of our program. And before we move on, we will have to rearrange the stage. I would like to thank once again all the panelists who were with us on this main stage and who shared their opinions with us. And thank you very much to our public and our viewers and those of you who are with us. Give yourselves a great round of applause. For those of you who are with us tonight, behind the tent, at the back we have a special photo booth at which you can print photographs which you have published on the social media hashtag Europe Together. And this hashtag will allow you to print out the photo you might have taken this afternoon or tonight. And please help yourself to drinks and food. You can also enjoy the raffle game and the debates which we have organized for you. Okay, so the stage is now getting ready for music performances. We will have 3 groups performing. First of all, the group... Okay, no, I'm not going to even give it away. You've probably seen the posters. Let me say once again that it's important to say that the platform Europe Together is a platform for Europe and the Europe that we want, which will lead us for the next couple of months towards the European election. Okay, now let's continue with some music in the background. Good night.